Hey guys, Monochrome here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Genuinely good to have you. Today we're taking a look at the Gerber Pledge. Now, before we get into this knife, I need to say something. Most of the time when I review a knife, it's something that I see or something I've heard about. I check it out at online shops, and if I like it, I buy it. And then when I buy it, I test it out for future videos, and I make sure to intentionally avoid watching other people's reviews on YouTube. But sometimes I'm on YouTube and I'll get a recommendation. I'll watch the video, and it's a video review of a knife. And that's what happened with the Gerber Pledge. This is something that I've seen reviewed on YouTube before, but I wanted to buy it anyway, so I did. Let's just get into the biggest issue with this knife right away. It's not the blade steel, which is 7CR MOV, so obviously not the greatest blade steel in the world, but it's decent. It's decent. And you really shouldn't expect too much on a knife that is typically found online for only $22. So this is a budget offering. You will find it online for right around $22 plus shipping. So you don't expect too much, but you do expect certain things. Now, as usual, guys, there will be specs in the description box below. Be sure to check that out when the video is over. But the biggest issue that other content creators have mentioned is this one. Okay, not sure if you guys can see that. Yeah, it's not coming up too well on my camera. This handle is straight. The blade, however, is leaning a little to the left. That's right. And actually, my camera is not doing a good job of picking that up. For some odd reason, the blade looks straighter than it is in real life. Oh yeah. Let's see if I can show it this way. Let's try to straighten that blade, and okay, that becomes a little bit more obvious. I'm holding the knife so that the blade is as straight as possible, and you can see the lower portion of the handle is now curving to the left. I try to hold the handle straight, and yeah, my camera is not picking it up. But there is definitely a slight kink or warp to the blade where it's actually leaning a bit to the left. Now, other content creators on YouTube, they've mentioned it, and on some of their samples, that warp in the blade is a lot more pronounced. On mine, it's slight. So I knew that this could be an issue, but I wanted to get the knife anyway. And I figured for $22, I mean, all of the content reviewers who've already made videos on this knife have mentioned that the warp in the blade, in some cases slight, in some a bit more pronounced, doesn't actually affect the use of the knife. The knife locks up, liner lock, nice and tight. On my example, no up and down, no side to side play. The liner lock does lock up very tightly, and it's also similar to the liner lock used on my absolutely favorite Gerber one-hander, the Zilch. Again, I didn't name it. This knife deserves a much better name than Zilch. But yeah, the liner locks on both are the same, even though the blade and the overall length on the Pledge is longer. Now, this is not a comparison video, but just to let you know, the Sheepsfoot blade is 3.7 inches, which I really don't understand why. Here's the thing. Yes, there are a lot of jurisdictions in America where street legal carry will be a folding knife with a blade 4 inches or under. However, I've noticed a trend over the last couple of decades that restrictions in American jurisdictions on blade length are getting worse. Yes, unfortunately, they are getting worse. You're going to be better off with something, well, if you want a one-hander that you can take with you to a lot of different jurisdictions, maybe you enjoy traveling, honestly, it's going to be a lot better if you have a blade that's 3.5 inches or 3.5 inches instead of 3.7. Because let me tell you something. Oh, yeah. Law enforcement does make a big deal about that 0.2 of an inch. They do. Absolutely. It's not like you'll be stopped on the street, tackled, and a police officer will take you to jail. But during a traffic stop, that could be an extra ticket with your knife being confiscated. Yep, just because of that 0.2 of an inch. So it would have been a lot better if the blade on this had been 3.5 inches, or maybe just a little bit less than that. There are quite a few knives out there being made by companies that intentionally make them 3.3 inches, 3.4 inches. That way, hey, legal limit is 3.5. Here are the specs on the knife. Oh, look, 3.4 or 3.3, street legal. On this, if your jurisdiction says 3.5, well, the blade on this is 3.7. So, yeah, that's another issue. Although if you're fortunate enough to live in a jurisdiction where the limit is 4 inches or under, you're good. But those jurisdictions are getting fewer and fewer as the years go by. That's just how it is. Opener, one-sided only. Although I do believe you could reverse this. I haven't tried it though. So if you're a left-hander, you might be able to reverse this by unscrewing right there, though I'm not 100% on that. If you're a right-hander, you're good, but not entirely, because this shelf opener, as I call it, it's not conducive to flicking the knife open. I mean, every single time I've tried, yeah, that's what I get. Every single time. I have never once been able to thumb flick this completely open. So this shelf is the type of opener where you place your thumb on it and you ride the shelf open, or you ride the blade open, I should say. Now, that's not a problem for some. And yeah, as I said, even with the warp in the blade, this makes a really good folding utility knife. Absolutely. If you're going to use it around the house, yeah, blade length won't be an issue. And again, average price $22, so meh, who cares if there's a slight warp in the blade. But yeah, if you're looking for something you can flick open very easily, I definitely recommend the Gerber Zilch. Each and every single time, no issues, no problems. Yes, the blade length is shorter, making it legal in more jurisdictions. And it is a different blade shape, but wow, this thing is buttery smooth to flick open. Absolutely wonderful. Here we have the Urban Blue handle color. Very nice. Now you can get this in all black, and you can also get this with a, well, I don't think Gerber calls it neon green. That's what it looks like, a neon green handle color. I chose the Urban Blue. I just think it really looks nice. There it is. Oh, and you do get liners on the inside. It's a little difficult to see, but you do get liners on both sides. Again, the liner lock, nice and strong, no play, side to side, up and down, none on my example. It is not an open pillar design, but that's a minor thing. Here we have the clip, and as you can see, it's not a low profile clip, not even on the all black version. But again, if you have a knife with a black clip, black handle scales, and you wear black pants, that's going to be a lot better than having the clip all the way up here and having practically nothing to grab onto. Now, unfortunately, because of this clip shape, which, as you can see, is a bit different than on the Gerber Zilch, because of this clip shape right here, even though it's not a low profile carry, this is not one of those knives where you can reach down and just easily pull it out. Because if you pull it out here, it ends up being awkward. This portion of the clip really gets in the way of positioning your hand lower down. So if you reach down and you pinch grip it and you pull it out of the pocket, well, as you can see, that's not a good grip for thumbing this knife open, because this does get in the way. Now on the Gerber Zilch, oh yeah, that is a nice smooth transition. Not nearly as abrupt on the Gerber Pledge, so you still have to set your hand lower down to pull this knife out. So for those of you who don't like a low profile carry clip, because a clip like this, something like this means, hey, I've got purchase up here. Well, usually yes, but in this case, no, because this portion is not smooth. It gets in the way. So you still have to reach into your pants pocket further down than you'd probably like to. And unfortunately, no lanyard hole, but you can reposition the clip for left side carry. Tip up only though. That's it. It's a 2-position pocket carry clip, either right side tip up carry or left side tip up carry, or considering how this knife is shaped, you can just remove the clip entirely and carry it in a pocket. This is a very comfortable knife design, except for one little odd thing. Now, this thumb opening shelf on the bottom, smooth. On the sides, yeah, still quite a bit smooth on the sides. However, when you got your thumb on the rear of the spine of the blade, all of a sudden, why is this sharp on top? And it doesn't look as though it should be. But yeah, right here and right there, that feels sharp. Okay. It doesn't look as though it would be, but yeah, that's a little sharp. Not a big deal. But still a little surprising. So overall, what do I think of this knife? Well, if you're the type of person who has OCD and the slightly warped blade is going to bother you, skip this. It is a well-known issue with the Gerber Pledge that for some bizarre reason, Gerber has not fixed. And this is not a knife that was released just last month or something. No. The Gerber Pledge has been out for a while, and for some bizarre reason, even though there are videos on YouTube from other content creators pointing out the warp in the blade, some more severe than others, and actually even some of the usual shills have pointed this out because it's so blatantly obvious. And unfortunately, Gerber has still done nothing to fix it. So if that slight warp in the blade bothers you, and again, my camera doing a horrible job of picking that up, I do apologize, but if that slight warp in the blade bothers you, skip this knife. The ironic thing is, even though there is a warp in this blade, check this out. Yep, that's the closed position, and you can see that the blade in the closed position is nicely centered. So ironically, even though the blade is warped, it's also nicely centered. Huh? I don't get that. I can't explain that. It's just something that exists. Okay, fair enough. But again, this is not a very expensive knife. You can typically pick these up for about $22. Maybe some places will have free shipping, but even with shipping, I mean, $22, if you need a good utility folding, locking sheepsfoot blade, this is a good choice. It really is. For the money, it's a good choice because that lock is solid. So for that, I do recommend it. If you have OCD about slightly warped blades, no. If you're looking for something you can easily flick open one-handed? No, 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 no. But yeah, if you're looking for a good beater utility sheepsfoot folding knife with a solid lock and a convenient pocket carry clip for utilitarian purposes, for mundane cutting chores around the house, yeah, this is a good one. And unfortunately, I don't think Gerber has any plans of fixing the warp issue that this particular model seems to now be infamous for, quite frankly. Infamous. That's the right word to use, absolutely. I mean, honestly, when you have even the shills on YouTube mentioning, hey, there's a problem with this knife, wow, yeah, that's a problem. So if you're going to order this knife, just expect it to have a slightly, ever so slightly warped blade, and you won't be disappointed. Again, if that bothers you, avoid this knife. But other than that, yeah, this does get a conditional recommendation from me. All right, guys, that's it for today. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be back soon. Please continue to stay safe out there. Yes, unfortunately, it's still dangerous. Take care.